All right, we're back. Round 4 on tap. Drake Sasser still here, enjoying the day, hoping to see some awesome highlights. We've got Eric Hawkins, who we saw explosively earn his team a berth in the top 8 yesterday in the last round of the Swiss against Tyler Novak. Both of these players were kind enough to submit paper deck lists, Stone Age technology here. So we actually don't have them for you, but I can tell you it's Burn versus Temur Rhinos. Drake Sasser, any thoughts leading into this round?
I mean, love me some Eric Hawkins. No,
anything you want.
Huh?
About anything you want. Doesn't have to be about the matchup. It could be about how to pronounce, we were giggling during the break because Drake tried to pronounce Vuvuzela and utterly failed.
I'm not even going to try, Joe. I don't got it. I'm not very musically inclined. I was informed this is a musical instrument, and that was, enough for me to understand that I have no knowledge of it whatsoever. So, yeah, not a lot of thoughts there, except that definitely not very musically inclined. Excited to watch some more modern action. Obviously, a high-stakes tournament here, modern 5K. A lot on the line for all the players playing. Of course, at the end of the tournament, 2 more Energy Championship players will be decided. A lot of names looking to get some last-minute points and try to make a run at those 2 qualifications. Of course, there are some roll-up points for some at-large bids at the end of the year that matter too. So Burn versus Temur Rhinos. Not a lot of thoughts on the matchup. Burn has things like Eidolon of Rhetoric, Eidolon of the Great Revel, that seem like they're especially impactful against decks that are casting 2 spells in 1 turn as a main part of their plan, both of which have converted mana cost less than 3. So we'll see exactly how this plays out. Both players know the matchup, as Eric is borrowing the Burn deck from Tyler. So no secrets here as to deck lists, I believe, as these players clearly familiar with each other, familiar with what each other's playing. So we're going to have a little bit of some informed mulliganing going on. Interested to see how that impacts the first few turns for both of these players.
Yeah, with Tyler going to 5 here and owning both decks, this is the point where basically every person in existence is like, hey, I need my cards back.
Oh, dang. Suddenly, oh, man, I really need that Burn deck. Can I borrow that? Can I have that back? Can
All right, so it looks like 5 cards are going to be the keep for Tyler. That's not a lot to work with, but I mean, 3 landing Cascade spell is all he needs to have a good start. So we'll see if he's able to manage that.
Absolutely. And we saw Archmage's Charm among the cards bottomed. Some builds of the Temur Rhinos deck supporting the Archmage's Charm. We saw that kind of rise through the popularity of Brittany Davis, kind of popularizing this charming Rhinos deck.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of success with it earlier this year. Not seen as much of it recently, but we do see it in the hands of Tyler here in this match. So we did see the card go to bottom. Seems like it might be kind of good in this matchup. Countering spells obviously matters a lot. Could take a 1-mana creature, but maybe a little bit slow based on Tyler's assessment, and we'll see exactly what the plan is for this matchup. I certainly know 2/4/4 Rhino tokens with Trample, going to be good against Burn.
All right, I can tell you from the posture of these players that they're waiting for us while we're waiting for them. So let's make sure that they know that they can start playing, and we'll get this match going.
Get a little bit of a look at Eric Hawkins' hand. A pair of Lightning Helixes among other cards. Going to lead off on a turn 1 Suspend of Riftbolt. Maybe a spell-heavy hand here for Eric. That would make a lot of sense.
How many times can we say this? Burn players want to start with a creature, not a Riftbolt, not a Lava Spike. So not the ideal start for Eric Hawkins. Although if he files up with Eidolon, then it's all good.
I mean, it could be something maybe a little bit better than something like a Monastery Whisperer in this matchup, where the only real way for Tyler to interact is these 2-mana kind of clunky spells. So if you just burn them out, that might just be good enough, as the Rhinos don't really do anything in the face of that. But here's that Eidolon of the Great Rhetoric I mentioned prior, as Flooded Grove is played in just a passing of the turn for Tyler. Looks like Eidolon in the clear to get 2 damage across. We'll see if there's a response, and there is. Stomp going to go ahead and deal 2 damage to Eidolon. Eidolon going to do 2 damage to Tyler. You could say they fought each other, but looks like Tyler's going to win that fight as Eidolon goes to the graveyard.
It'll be interesting if Eric had a Boros Charm there, whether he decided to save the Eidolon or not, as it is fairly good against the Rhinos deck, at least against the Cascade into actual Crushing Rhinos would do 4 damage, which I guess is exactly the same as Boros Charm that does in the first place.
Yeah, I think just getting the creature into play earlier is basically always better. And we do see a 3rd land and a passing of the turn. Skewer, Helix, Lightning Bolt, the mixture for Eric. 1 Lightning Bolt short of lethal, if you're keeping track of the mathematics there. Tyler, posturing there with Odawara as the third land does suggest maybe, not the best land to put in play, but does do no damage to you, so could represent some Rhinos here at instant speed, as here comes 6 damage on the instep.
All right, Eric, able to finish this off real quick or no? Let's see. Land drop and more burn spells ready to deploy, but 2 Rhinos coming into play for Tyler here. So Eric now going to be on the clock as well.
Interested to see no play there from Eric. It is kind of appealing to just go ahead and fire off both of your burn spells. But, we do have the Sunbaked Canyon. We can threaten to crack an instant speed. Could do something like a Lightning Helix turn, as well as cracking the Sunbaked Canyon to try to find the final burn spell for lethal. And like I said, just ignore these 2 Rhinos that come into play. Just here you go. I have all spells. These Rhinos not going to block anything and certainly not going to kill me in time. Provided we can actually find Rhinos going through the whole deck. Here is Crashing Footfalls, going to make 2/4/4 Rhino tokens with Trample. And we'll see if Eric can find that lethal burn spell. But that Skewer does get a nice discount if you do just main phase the Lightning Helix alongside it. Eric, of course, electing not to do so.
Yeah, that is interesting. I mean, yes, trying to dodge. Well, you must be drawing though, right? I mean, that's when you're at this point, you cast 1 spell and then draw, and then hope to finish it off with Skewer another spell. I don't know.
Well, I think he's thinking that if he draws any spell, right, Skewer's 1 mana. Like if any spell is lethal, you're still gonna have 3 lands after the fact. So any spell that you can cast is going to kill Tyler alongside the Skewer. So you might as well just do it all, later. And so it looks like we have a little upkeep Lightning Helix action. If you have a counter spell, tap it on your turn, please. No force of negation. Thank you. And I'll do the cycling on instep. Thank you very much. As Tyler takes a draw step. Looks like 2 Brazen Borrowers among the mix. Scalding Tarn, not super appealing to crack, but may not matter, as here comes 8 damage across. Eric Hawkins, those 2 Lightning Helixes actually might matter here, as we're looking at going to 14 off of the first hit from Rhinos.
Yeah, absolutely. Benefiting 6 life. I mean, this would be a win next turn for Tyler. Instead, Eric has some time to spare here. So
like
takes a draw.
Instep. Eidolon, Skewer. Are we seeing 2 Skewers? I can't get a good look at the other card, but looks like Skewer is certainly among the mix. Maybe here with an Eidolon on the stack? No, we're just casting a Brazen Borrower here.
Well, if that's in response, yeah, that's 11 on the board. That would mean Eric can't cast 2 more spells if all that comes across.
Yeah, maybe looking to block and try to get some, get yourself unlocked from your own Eidolon. We'll see. Tyler, another land. Here.
Yeah, so what do you... So Tyler actually having to think, really, for the first time in the game.
I think there's a Fury in hand he's considering casting. If you do cast it, it doesn't take any damage, but you do have to fetch.
Yeah, I think
provided you have a mountain.
Let's see. Yeah, do you 4, 8, 11? Maybe you attack first and see if... Is Eric just guaranteed to block here? Probably, I guess.
I think so.
I think you give him the chance to not block, because it would screw him if he didn't. So Fury's gonna take out Eidolon here. Yeah, if
you know he's guaranteed to block, I think it's fine to just go ahead and make this play, right?
But I mean, it doesn't change your clock. Tyler's winning next turn by overwhelming damage.
Look at that draw. He did a little peek there to see if it was good enough. It's not. Wow. So Skewer does not find a friend to pair with, and Eric Hawkins loses the old top deck moment. I call it a top deck moment.
Yeah, losing against a 5-card hand too. That's not something you want to live with, especially when you know the person.
Absolutely. So, I mean, you could probably joke about it later. It is a high stakes moment, but I mean, part of the beauty of Magic's the friends you make along the way, right? So you just be like, oh my gosh, if I had just drawn a bolt or whatever, you would have been dead.
Talking about here, please, the friends I made along the way, or like you and Tannen, please. It'd be rather if I had never entered I'd be better off if I'd never met either one of you. All right. So sideboarding, we don't have deck lists for these 2 players. Rolling Vortex is a real winner as far as the burn sideboard, causing 5 damage for free spells, wiping out the Crushing Rhinos. Drake's giving me the silent treatment now because I've dissed him.
Absolutely. I can't believe you didn't call me a friend. But yeah, Rolling Vortex, obviously a very good option the burn has access to in this matchup. Being able to stop any amount of life gain, very powerful. and then, no spells spent to cast a spell. That's 5 damage. That's the best rate of any burn spell in the burn deck, right?
Yeah.
Like Boros Charm, typically the best rate, 2 mana, 4 damage. Here, we're looking at 2 mana for 5 damage, so a very good sideboard option from the burn deck. A card you typically see in high numbers, no matter what, because it does have that triggered ability every upkeep, kind of doing the mini Sulfuric Vortex effect. So I suspect we're going to see any and all copies, usually upwards of about 3 to 4 in this matchup from the burn side.
Yeah, okay. Maybe even Deflecting Palm can turn around a Rhino hit. I don't know if that's really worth doing, although it's probably not worse than Boros Charm because it's unlikely that Tyler's going to win a game without Rhinos.
That's true. And a lot of the removal out of the Rhinos deck is burn based, right? So there's a world where you could use that actually just to save some of your own threats. Not sure if that's exactly something Eric wants to reach for because it is a lot of mana to hold up. But as you alluded to, this game doesn't really end super fast. Usually it involves some of those Rhinos coming into play on turn 3. So it's very possible that Eric is going to have the time to be able to cast that and have it be effective.
Yeah, definitely. All right. So as the players are shuffling up, chat wants to know, what is Drake hiding with his green screen?
An unfinished kitchen, chat. I am streaming out of my kitchen in my new home. So instead of looking at ugly parts all over the place, you get my virtual office. Welcome to the metaverse or whatever. I don't even know any of that stuff, but this is my virtual office. Step into my office.
All right. So players getting ready. We'll see if Tyler can keep better than 5 cards, but I guess that's not really necessary. I mean, won the last game, no problem.
Yeah. Don't need cards.
No problem.
All I need is Rhinos.
Yeah. All you need is Rhinos. Indeed. There's a guaranteed 2 for 1 for 3 mana, 2 4/4 Tramplers. It's a pretty good deal.
Pretty good deal.
Pretty good deal.
Joe, do you know what sound a rhino makes?
If there's a correct answer to this, no, I do not.
I don't either. It's
Okay.
legitimately me asking. You have more years of experience than I do.
I haven't spent too much time on Safari though, so no, I don't have an answer to that. Maybe next time we do Legacy, if Julian's here, we'll ask him.
Yeah, where's that at? Where's the NRG Safari? I could use a nice black and orange Safari.
Yeah, I mean, we have Julian. He could coordinate the whole thing for us. I mean, that's his job. Yes.
Oh, is that what Julian does? Does he do Safari stuff?
He does.
That's awesome.
He contracts. He works for a tour company in Kenya. He lives in Germany, but he coordinates tours, safaris and such for Kenyan travel. Yeah.
So you're saying there's a chance, Joe, we could have Safari.
I don't know. I don't know what the vacation budget for Nerd Rage Gaming is, but since we sold out the events this weekend, I feel like we could justify a request for, a rhino seeing photography safari for this
I think
summer.
that would add a lot. It's an immersive experience, Joe. If someone's going to play Temur Rhinos, I need to know what rhinos
building,
sound
right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Hashtag NRG SAF. That's Safari, right? All right. I think we're good. Join the conversation on Twitter. It looks like a mulligan from Eric. Did reveal his hand. Remember, these two players do know each other, and he's like, all right, yeah, all these cards are terrible. 2 Roiling Vortex and 2 Eidolons. That can't be good enough, right? And Tyler's giving his opinions on that. Oh, yeah, mulligan those. Get those out of my face.
All right, so Eric Hawkins returned the favor of game 1. I always tell my opponents, if I'm all to 5 in game 1 and they don't, they have to make it up for me in the other games. They usually do not. Jerks, all of them.
It's like nobody listens to you.
I know. Man.
Joe, the disenfranchised wise man, will say.
My life is, it's just
tough.
Yeah. That's why I do this coverage thing. I mean, if they want to watch, half the people watching probably have us muted anyway.
That's actually probably true, and probably for the better. Honestly, I say a lot of wrong things, and Twitch chat, gets on to me about it. But there would be more complaining if they could hear me. As here's a turn 1 Monster Spear all the way in the orange zone, out of the yellow zone into the orange zone on Tyler's side of the battlefield for that massive 1 point of damage as we go to Tyler's very first turn.
But still more damage coming, and this is what I like to see from the burn decks, the prowess decks. You want to get those creatures out there because you don't want to. If you're going to draw them at all, if they're in their deck, you want to draw them up in your hand, not on turn 5 when they can't get through because there's rhinos all over the place.
Yeah, that's definitely the way to do it, especially on the play on turn one. Swiss Spear could represent as much as 3 damage next turn. Looks like that may not be the case, as Tyler has indicated that he is casting a spell that kills a monster. Spear. Maybe a Dead Gone?
That would be, yeah, Dead Gun or Fury would be the only ways to do it for 1 mana,
Looks
or
like
for
Dead
fewer than
Gone.
2
Gonna
mana.
go ahead and pick off Monster Swift Spear. No free spells like, I don't know, whatever, Gut Shot or something to be able to give Monster Swift Spear prowess and get out of range of that. As we go back to Eric Hawkins, turn 2 on his Molten 6.
That would have
Looks
been
like
pretty
2
good,
different
though.
lands. Huh?
That would have been pretty good. Gut Shot there to grow.
That'd be disgusting. It'd be so good. Looks like a tapped Katria Triome for Tyler Novak as we go back very quickly to Eric Hawkins' turn 3. Looks like a Mountain the play. Looks like a pair of Skewers, Light Lava Spike. Looks like we have 9 damage in hand, but I think after that we're out. I think we're tapped, and that leaves Tyler at a pretty healthy 9.
Yeah.
So we're just going to go ahead and fire it all off now. No counter spells, please, and thank you. And fire it off back to Tyler. Do you have any rhinos? Looks like the answer is yes.
If Tyler doesn't take any damage here, then he knows that Eric's got a ways to go before he can kill him, even if he draws optimally. And yeah, here's a Shardless Agent, and Tyler will again flip 1 card at a time looking for Crashing Footfalls. Hopefully,
very, very notable that Shardless Agent is the card cast here because it gives it a clean 2-turn clock. We have 10 power going into play, whereas if we use Violent Outburst, that would be less. Although now it's actually more because next turn we can Violent Outburst, make even more power, and do it in combat to where we get that extra 3 points of damage. As here is Crashing Footfalls, making the 2 4/4 green Rhino creature tokens with Trample that we will look forward to seeing on our Safari.
Okay, Eric Hawkins, what can you find? A Swift Spear is not going to do it, so find a new card.
Roiling Vortex, I don't think is what the doctor ordered. That is another on-time draw, as they say. That Bloodstained Mire is going to cost a point of life to cast. Looks like we are reaching to, to crack, and it looks like we are doing that. Maybe a Roiling Vortex is in our future? Looks like it is. On time right there. That looks like maybe a little comment made from Eric. Here we go. Exactly what the doctor ordered.
Well, that is going to just kind of clear the way for Tyler to go all in here. 10 coming across, and then whatever else he's got, which, I mean, he might not, very well may not need anything else.
Yeah, as long as he doesn't cast any Crashing Footfalls and take 5 damage that he doesn't need to, I think he's probably in really good shape. We'll see. Both these players playing really quick Magic here. As here comes
been a lot
10
points
points
in this
of
match
damage
so far. You don't need to, you don't need to develop a position when each card puts 10 power on the board.
Yeah, this is very much a racing situation. Beep beep. Here comes damage. Eric Hawkins at 8 takes a look. Is it good enough? Boros Charm among the better draws, I'd say. Is there a way to stay alive? I think that's what Eric Hawkins is asking himself right now. Monster Swift Spear could line up a block on one of the
Swift Spear tokens. Actually, yeah, this is it, right? This is enough. If Tyler has nothing, Swift Spear, Boros Charm plus the Vortex damage.
Yep. Looks like that's 4 damage, 5, 6, 7. That's 7. We'll see if this is good enough. Looks like a lot of cards in Tyler's hand. But once again, that Roiling Vortex actually is shutting down that Violent Outburst to cast another copy of Rhinos because that's 5 damage.
Right. I wonder if Tyler needed to play the Shardless Agent in hand just to have a blocker. I mean, and just not cast the Rhinos, because this is going to prowess the Swift Spear up to 2, Boros Charm for 4, and Roiling Vortex to finish things up.
And looks like, Eric Hawkins going to remember his trigger.
I think that was just a celebratory fist bump. That means we're going to game 3.
Okay, all right. I think, both these players should be moving to a game 3. Looks like Tyler did realize his mistake. I should have put this Shardless Agent into play and not cast the Crashing Footfalls. That's all right. You still get another chance, Tyler. On to game 3 we go. Tyler's going to have the opportunity to be on the play. Matters a ton in this matchup. We saw it is very much a racing situation. I mean, imagine if Tyler was on the play that game, right? Like, how different would the script be? So play draw matters a lot in this matchup. Matters a lot anytime you're playing against an aggressive deck like Burn. And we'll see if the sideboard options can do enough for Eric to swing the match in his favor on the draw.
I mean, play draw may matter, but cards don't apparently matter, as the player that started with fewer cards in the hand has won both games so far.
Yeah, Mulligan's not worried. The London Mulligan, so powerful, Joe. made such a difference across the board in Magic. We can't really state that enough. I mean, players know it, and I think Magic is better as a result of it. I don't know, I'd love to hear your thoughts. What do you got?
No, I think it's dramatically improved limited. Constructed, I think it's less clear, but it's probably a net positive. But there are certainly, all-in decks that function better with this rule. Tron, for example, in Modern,
Absolutely.
benefited
That's one
from
of
the
their case
rule.
studies.
And I don't think, despite having played Tron for a couple of years, I don't think a metagame full of Tron is good for anybody. I mean, I played in the London Pro Tour where they introduced the rule, and Tron was the most played deck. I played 4 mirrors. That's not fun for anybody.
I've heard that one's sweet.
Yeah.
Karn, exile your land.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
No,
Karn, exile your land. Ooh.
The whole match comes down to mulliganing and then who plays turn 3 Karn of one variety or another, and that's it. So it's not always a positive, but I think overall the game does gain from the current mulligan rules.
Yeah, I agree. Obviously, limited, like you said, one of the better examples. Does make combo decks a little more consistent, but recent sets like Modern Horizons 2 has given us plenty of very effective tools at combating these powerful, consistent combo decks. And so, like you said, I think more games of Magic always better, certainly better for coverage. And so, I think the London Mulligan's really, really good for the rule. Now, it looks like the players are under the impression the match is over. So I'd like to get a little bit of confirmation here that the match is or is not actually over. That way we can proceed accordingly.
Did we miss? Okay, so Rolling Vortex does 1 damage during the upkeep, right?
Yeah, maybe we missed it. Maybe Tyler went ahead and won.
Well, if the life totals
I would like confirmation from the desk. We'll get it as soon as we have it. Chat can blow us up if they...
Yeah. Well, it definitely looks like the players are not planning on playing another game. So if the life totals were inaccurate, then okay, maybe. All right. So so something was wrong. I would be interested in hearing more about what happened, but Tyler has won the match. So maybe the life total was wrong, or maybe there was an error, or well, that's it. I'm out of guesses. I don't know what else could have happened.
Somebody is wrong in the situation.
Yeah.
I'm always willing to throw myself to the wolves and say we were wrong. We got something wrong about how the cards work. Feel free to blow us up on Twitter, on chat. Please at least follow first. But either way, I'm confident in saying we're usually wrong and probably wrong in this scenario. So either way, we can probably proceed to any and all backup matches if we have them, and get you more Magic streaming as soon as possible.
All right, we're going to go ahead and shift over to the backup match then. We have the replay enabled, so we're going to start watching from the beginning of the match. This is Kora Benck versus Adam Wasburn-Moses. Titan versus 4 Elementals. So we haven't seen Titan yet this weekend.
Oh, I like this. Look at the matching nails is a nice touch here. Adam actually used to be I'd say progenitor. Maybe that's the right word. I don't know. Used to be an advocate for the Amulet Titan deck. Used to be pretty well known for playing that in Modern across, plenty of time. Used to post on Twitter about it all the time. And of course, Adam Wasburn-Moses looking to pick up quite a few NRG points this weekend. Mm-hmm. Need to get through, of course, his old favorite deck, Amulet Titan. So we see Kora lead off on a forest and an amulet that got prismatic endinged right away. Going to go ahead and take care of that one. And Cavern of Souls, the follow-up land, as here comes likely an abundant growth. It sure is.
All right. So yeah, this I asked yesterday, to just get rid of all this artwork and have just card names in size 40 font. The writing on those lands is not font size 40. I mean,
you don't like.
We did get rid of the artwork, so that's part of what I asked for. But the font size was an important aspect of that request.
That's fair. Well, how about just a ton of text? You know what it is. Viewers know what it is. The full text. Come on.
Yeah, I know.
Players asked for it for years.
Yep.
And here's a Teferi to bounce that Dryad. Now, Kora did play that Dryad of the Ilysian Grove on turn 3 with her 3rd land drop, and then did not play an additional land. So that's maybe a little sign of weakness for Adam Wasburn-Moses, as he does pick up the Dryad of the Ilysian Grove using Teferi on his turn.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so the Dryad back down there. Yeah, I mean, the Amulet Titan deck, I mean, there's also an Azusa in hand, and it's just,
Yeah,
a
no bounce lands to
Garou.
be seen. We do see a
Yeah.
copy of Primeval Titan, Arboreal Grazer, and Tolaria West. So Tolaria West likely looking to be transmuted to grab one of the namesake bounce lands for the Amulet Titan deck. Go ahead and produce as much mana as you can so that you can maybe follow up with the Titan on the following turn. But Adam has a ton of cards in hand. We'll see exactly what his plan is to foil that strategy.
Yeah, so deciding what to do here, there's a Shivan Reef I keep saying that, a Risen Reef in hand. There's a
Shivan
Utopia
Reef, Risen
Sprawl,
Reef, close
Ren and
enough. The Reef.
6, lots of toys.
And here's
Risen
a
Reef
copy
it
of
is.
the namesake Risen Reef. That is what differentiates Adam's deck from the 4-color. Heard it called Money Pile, just 4-color mid-range. You've heard it called a lot of things. The Elementals deck does play copies of Risen Reef and try to leverage the elemental synergies with the Modern Horizons to evoke elementals. So we will see that come up here as Risen Reef has entered play. And Utopia Sprawl going to go ahead and be played on that basic snow-covered forest.
All right, I think Expedition Map was a draw for Kora. So
That looks
now
to be
there
a
are
better way to do it than the Tolaria West for sure.
Yeah.
Same mana cost, but you get to keep the land. Likely a bounce land coming. Looks like Adam thinking about this expedition map. Kora thinking about what to grab.
Well, this will turbocharge the mana, or at least let her catch up to where normal land drops would have allowed her to be.
And there is the Simic Growth Chamber. Going to play that as the first land drop. Pick up this forest. Replay the forest as the second land drop using Dryad the Ilysian Grove. Attack Teferi. Pretty good turn from Kora, if you ask me. One land away. If you draw an untapped, if Kora draws an untapped land off the top of the library, we have an uncounterable Primeval Titan entering play, and that's definitely a very good spot for Kora to be, especially with the Dryad already in play. We can grab things like Valakut and start answering some of the creatures in play. As here comes Titania,
Wow,
Protector of Argoth, threatening to bring back Windsuck Teeth.
That's gonna bring a land into play. That's gonna trigger the Risen Reef. Risen Reef. Yeah, I was going back and forth between the names.
No Shivan, just Risen.
Yeah, just Risen. And then here is a Pitchcast Fury, which will also trigger the Risen Reef.
Super heads up play here from Adam. Go ahead and take care of that Dryad. Even though it doesn't look that threatening, Adam knows now that Kora has fixed her mana problem, if a Primeval Titan comes off the top of the library, grabbing Valakuts here would be disastrous. So now suddenly that Dryad is a lot bigger of a threat. You need to go ahead and get Fury out the way. We do still get to draw a card or whatever. Look at the top card, put it into play if it's a land using the Risen Reef. And then we're going to go ahead and fetch, make a 5/3 elemental, and trigger the Risen Reef again. So everything coming up Adam at the moment, putting a lot of power into play with these 5/3 elemental tokens from Titania. And the onus is kind of on Kora now to be able to find an untapped land and get Primeval Titan into play. Otherwise, she may succumb to the onslaught of 5/3 attackers.
Yeah, this is building up quickly here. The Titania really puts a lot of power onto the board. But then again, like you're saying, so does Primeval Titan in a lot of cases.
Oh, wow. And here is a channeled Boseiju for 1 mana, thanks to Titania being legendary. 1 mana channel. Let's go ahead and blow up that Simic Growth Chamber. Thank you very much. So now Kora set back 2 mana and grabs a forest. Notably, could grab things like Breeding Pool or whatever. Elects to grab a basic forest. And now, suddenly, I don't even know what draws necessarily get her out before this Titania is going to do a lot of damages. Here comes another 5/3 elemental with this fetch. Trigger Risen Reef. Looks like a land may be entering play. Another Miss Your Rainforest.
Wow, yeah, that was impressive stuff. Okay, so let's see. From Kora's side, we know there's an Azusa in play. So a bounce land, and then, there's the bounce land.
Bounce land's probably how it has to start. No Amulet's pretty tough. We do have a blocker in the form of a Arboreal Grazer. And we have things like Azusa to really enable all of the land drops. And a Triome is the fetched land. Of course, Adam's deck, a 80-card Yorion deck, so has to get through all of it. Here comes Azusa. Going to go ahead and pick up the forest. Replay the forest. Probably worth playing a Arboreal Grazer just to block as well. We'll see what Kora decides.
So, yeah. There's Tolaria West and Grazer. There's a Pact in hand. Grazer does make it into play. All right. This doesn't look like a lethal attack right now. It looks like 16. I believe the Titania tokens are also 5/3s, right?
The Titania tokens are also 5/3, yes. What an alliteration. Titania tokens. But yeah. Oh, also, I stand corrected. There are actually no other land-typed lands to grab in Kora's deck with Boseiju other than forest. Just looking at the deck list here, there's no breeding pools, there's no anything else, it's just forests as the land-type lands, as the inclusion of the channel lands has booted any and all other utility-typed lands out. As here comes more Risen Reef triggers, and looks like a tapped Wooded Foothills coming into play with the fetch from Misty Rainforest, triggering Risen Reef and Titania. And here comes the land.
I often feel like Risen Reef never seems like it hits as many lands as it should. Adam has gone a long way towards flipping those percentages just by himself in this game.
Like, just fetching over and over. Yeah, no, you're very correct.
Hit.
I believe two fetch lands too. Like they're not even like bad lands to hit. They just like make more 5/3s. Just doing everything. Everything's the way we drew it up, Joe. Endurance, among other cards in Adam's hand. Plenty of cards drawn from Risen Reef, so a whole host of things available. Big attack from the Titania and Elementals. All the creatures in the graveyard. Now we'll see if this Primeval Titan is going to be good enough to claw Kora back into this game.
Yeah, with 3 forests in play, even a field isn't going to generate too many tokens. In fact, I don't think any. So this looks tough, although we may see Kora find a way to survive another turn.
I don't think Field of the Dead is legal in this format, Joe. I think you have to do it with Urza's Saga these days. They nerfed this. I don't know. Either way, Radiant Fountain looks like it's going to be part of the mixture. Try to pad the life total a little bit. Primeval Titan does a great job of blocking 5/3s, but can't hold down the fort itself as there is upwards of 20 power in play. And looking for another land to grab. Simic Growth Chamber, going to be the selection. Threatens to pick up Tolaria West, or could also pick up the Radiant Fountain if that's what we're looking for. Although that looks like she may have selected Crumbling Vestige instead to make the mana.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. Maybe with something like Summoner's Pact, we're trying to build up to put another blocker into play. Explore the play.
Okay.
Here comes a card.
That's
a haste land. All right. Needed red mana for that one. Don't have it. Here's just a passing of the turn. And here's a Solitude to take care of the Primeval Titan. 6 life. Likely not going to be good enough. And there's a Risen Reef trigger. Kora has seen enough. And that will conclude game 1 here. And yeah, we'll take a look at Decklist here. Looks like Adam's got a lot of spicy stuff going on. I don't know how many times I've seen Titania go turbo like that. That was really cool.
I know. That came out. I feel like usually when it shows up, it's like on turn 20. And this one was like early and it had a significant impact on the game. We do have deck lists now, so let's go ahead and look and see exactly what the players are playing with. Kora Benck's Amulet Titan deck, as you pointed out already, there aren't land type options. It's basically mono green. And you can see here the intricacies of
pretty
the
normal
build.
Amulet deck. Couple Cultivator Colossus, that powerful addition from the Shadows over Innistrad, I believe it's one of that. It's either the Shadows over Innistrad or Crimson Vow. It's from the new Innistrad cycle. A powerful option for this deck. Looks like 1 copy of Turntimber Symbiosis as well. A card that we didn't see as much of prior to Cultivator Colossus. Gets a little bit more stock when there are more hits to find off of that card. Mm-hmm. Otherwise, 2 copies of Valakut, Vesuva, using the Hanweir Battlements in favor of things like the Boros Garrison and Slayer's Stronghold to give Primeval Titan haste. 2 copies of Boseiju. Other than that, pretty normal Amulet deck. Expedition map, a recent addition as well, due to the inclusion of Urza's Sagas.
Yeah, Urza's Saga is just such a nice card. Fits into so many decks. You just change your tutor targets. Like, okay, we'll throw in Amulets and Expedition maps. Oh, your deck, you're getting Spellbomb and, Shadow Spear, whatever. It's just, it always works. All right, let's go ahead and look at Adam's build. A 4-color. Yorion Elementals. And
the single copy of Titania in this deck pairs pretty nicely with the 4 copies of Eladamri's Call. If it's good, you can find it.
Yeah, that's a lot. Yeah, so is there a Magus of the Moon somewhere? Is there some kind of hate card that will mess up this land base? I don't see one.
It looks like the answer is no. A lot of Eladamri's Call's decks in this format do seem to reach for Magus of the Moon. The absence of one here is going to be really, really impactful on this particular matchup, especially when it comes to looking at sideboard options. There's a potential for Kora to pick up a few more powerful options, things like Emrakul and stuff, if that's something you want to reach for, make a bunch of mana, assuming the games are going to go really long. Now, that game didn't look like it went that long because Titania just powered out a bunch of elementals, but there's one Titania, and the 4-color deck's known for trying to play a much longer game. Could want to reach for something like Emrakul. Doubt that Adam wants to reach for Emrakul of his own, but things like Meddling Mage are really appealing options to be able to name Primeval Titan. So we'll see if that's maybe going to be good enough versus something like Magus of the Moon in this matchup. But otherwise, I don't think there is a lot. Maybe some Chalice on 0 action for Summoner's Packs. It does something. I'm not sure how many cards that Adam's
Yeah, that
cut,
seems that's pretty marginal, but we could see it. But even then, Meddling Mage is going to be the primary one, I think. Being able to shut down Primeval Titan. Dryad for, Dryad can still allow Valakut to pick off the Meddling Mage, but it's a significant hindrance on what can happen. All right, let's see how game 2 plays out. Kora with already probably looks like a better mana base than last game. In fact, quite a few land.
Agreed. There's a Saga among the mix. Looks like maybe a Dryad.
Yeah, the Dryad helps. I mean, it's hard to have too many lands when you have bounce land, Saga, and then a Dryad. I remember my first time playing against Amulet with Urza Saga. They didn't even play any Primeval Titans at all. It was just Saga, make a token, bounce it, Saga, make a token, bounce it. And
That's
like,
pretty
how
good.
is
There you
this
go.
fair?
Beat this odds. They're kind of like pack rats, Joe. Since there's no other artifacts really in the deck, like there's like 4 amulets and an expedition map or whatever. They just like each one you make pumps the rest. That's all they do, and you just die to that. We saw that be powerful enough in standard formats in the past. Sometimes it's going to beat you in modern too.
Yeah, it was not at all reasonable. All right, so it looks like Kora took a mulligan also. So both players on 6 so far to start game 2.
Not bad at all. All right, we'll see if Kora can produce something maybe a little more explosive. Now, Kora, if you remember, did lead off on Amulet. And if you think about the kind of sequencing in that game, that Amulet certainly would have, I think, switched the tide of that entire turn so much more had it been able to stay in play. But Adam, of course, able to use Prismatic Ending, a big pickup for the fair decks in the modern format to take care of Amulet Titan. Normally just uses a creature removal spell. Also picks up these artifacts. A little bit of main deck artifact hate. Something you love to see is here's a turn 1 Amulet, and here's a Shocked Sacred Foundry. And why don't we run that? Oh, sorry, that's an Ephemerate. You can't Ephemerate it.
Somebody know this.
Guess the Prismatic Ending. I think there's a Prismatic Ending in Adam's hand too. Oh no!
Come on.
Adam put the right card in the yard. Oh, we figured it out. All right, let's get that fixed. Oh, there we go. Yeah. My bad. You didn't see anything. Nothing to see here.
Yeah, this isn't even a free spell. This is just a straight up wrong spell.
And there's an Urza Saga, maybe pivoting plans a little bit. So we see a second copy of Urza Saga. Might do exactly what you just alluded to. Let's just make a bunch of constructs, see if that's good enough. As here comes a Ren and 6 to pick up the fetch land that Adam is using to fetch a land to cast the Ren and 6. So this is the way we drew it up, and this is the power of Ren and 6 in this format. Card advantage right away on turn 2. Here's a second counter.
So how is the sequence going to go for Kora? It looks like Tolaria onto the field.
Tolaria West going to be tapped.
Saga in hand, but chooses. Yeah, there is.
Well, it looks like we might be planning to try to build up to some kind of a like Dryad. We do have a Pact for Primeval Titan, some kind of like Dryad into grab Amulet, and then you can grab Expedition Map for the bounce land and like assemble a Primeval Titan plan over something like a Construct plan, which likely going to be more effective given the deck is designed to put Primeval Titans in play, not necessarily always just try to win with these manual beatdowns of sagas. So we'll see if that is going to pan out for Kora as a very quick fetch from Adam. We'll see if there is Risen Reef, as we saw in game number 1, to produce quite a bit of card advantage.
Well, it looks like not.
Looks like just a passing of the turn, as Primeval Titan is the draw.
All right. So, Construct coming in this turn, it looks like. Which is, I guess, is a way to put some pressure on the Planeswalker, but not going to amount to a whole lot.
And then here is a Construct, an artifact going to be grabbed here, so that Ren and 6 not going to be able to pick off the Construct, as here comes either an Amulet or the one-of copy of Expedition Map, potentially anything that we grab out of the sideboard as well, but likely going to be one of those two.
Kora making up her mind, and Adam's just kind of sitting and waiting, and I mean, nothing explosive has happened so far. Map coming in with the mana already tapped means nothing's going to happen really this turn. So really no threats, no fear to worry about right now. Another Urza Saga, okay, that's great, but still that means 2 more turns on layaway before that goes off and does something meaningful. And like you're saying, that these constructs, I mean, yeah, sure, Ren 6 can't pick it off, but Adam's deck
Not really
can
going to be
handle.
fast enough.
Yeah,
Yeah, and
Adam's
here
deck
comes
can handle
Eldamri's call.
random little stuff like this. And here's the call. Let's see if we're getting Meddling Mage, or are we just going to get Omnath or something to fill out the curve?
How about Knight of Autumn? I'll do you
Okay.
one better. How about a 3-mana creature that can also Stone Rain by picking off that Urza's Saga? Could also pick off the Construct or anything else you really want. You pick off the Expedition map and then kill the Construct too. A lot of options with that card. Not surprised to see Adam bringing that one in, as it very clearly is his plan to take care of those amulets as soon as they enter play. Having another effect that does so seems extremely powerful, and there's Knight of Autumn. Could make it a 4/3 if you want, or you could gain 4 life if you want. Typically in this matchup, probably looking to destroy some artifacts and enchantments.
Yeah. So I'm curious to see whether the map or the Saga is the target. If it is the map, then the Ren could pick off the Construct token.
Yeah, looks like we are going to go after that map. Deny Kora a bounce land. Pretty good. We'll see if this Ren wants to tick up and make another land drop for Adam, or if we want to try to pick off the Construct here. Looks like Adam making that same decision right now. Going to go ahead and roll it up for no value because we played the Cavern this turn, likely naming whatever Knight of Autumn is. And there's a Dismember and Ephemerate in response. The Ephemerate that we showed earlier.
That's right.
And here it comes. And that's going to pick off the Urza Saga. Absolutely not. Both those cards going to head to the graveyard. And here's a Knight of Autumn ready to block a Construct token.
That was such a good turn for Adam Wasburn-Moses.
How about third Urza Saga? Looking at that's copy of Primeval Titan.
Great, but that's pretty slow. Are we going to see a block? Nope. It's just going to get through. And then this Ephemerate is going to blink this Knight again and take out the other Saga probably. Oh, this game is just very, very much developing in Adam's favor.
All right, here's Ephemerate again. How about that one? Take that one away too, please. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
And here is a 2/2 Construct and an Engineer Explosives on 2 versus Ren and 6 and Knight of Autumn. Adam, of course, has multiple cards in hand still to use. Boseiju among the bunch. Could pick off some of these artifacts, enchantments, or what have you. But either way, Ren and 6 on the table could threaten to pick that Boseiju up over and over again for just about the rest of the game. Going to go ahead and blow up the Engineered Explosives that would kill the Ren. Or Kora able to untap. Kora going to grab an untapped Forest.
Wow. This is just everything running together for Adam. Picking off the explosives, I was even convinced that was a good idea, as it does give Kora a land back. But I guess protecting the Ren 6 is pretty good now that it's back to 6, and now that it's recurring Boseiju. That's a lot different than
I think recurring Boseiju against Amulets is going to be pretty hard for them to beat, as here's a block from Knight of Autumn to trade with the last Construct token. Kora sitting on 3 forests and a Tolaria West versus Adam's Ren and 6 that threatens to bring Boseiju back every turn. Now, Retrace, pretty powerful ability, but really, Ren and 6 is not going to win this game on its own. Adam still needs to find some additional pieces to close this game, or it is very possible for Kora to just make a few more land drops and start casting some Primeval Titans.
Yeah.
So Adam really needs to find some pressure.
Maybe. You're right that Retrace isn't going to maybe not win the game completely, although Retracing Ephemerate could get out of control real quick with all the elemental triggers in this deck.
It's true. And Eldamri's call with Retrace probably pretty good enough, but very slow.
Yeah,
it's not very fast.
That's a nice one also.
It's a good one.
And I assume that Meddling Mage came in. Yeah, I mean, it looks like as it currently stands, Ren 6 would be able to ultimate and then retrace and bring up the Meddling Mage if that would be the choice before Primeval Titan could be hardcast.
Now, I wonder how much knowledge Adam actually has. We're going to go ahead and cycle a Triome here. And is this a different Triome? Is that Jetmir's? Jetmir's Garden or whatever? Well, let's see if we take a look. Is that another card, Joe? Would that count?
Oh, it would count.
I might be wrong, Joe. It might be 7. Let's see. What do we got? Yeah, it's Jetmir's Garden.
It's Jetmir's Garden.
Look at that. New Triumph for the checklist. Streets of New Capenna cards. We're at 7. Now, like I was saying, if Adam knows Kora's list and knows there's only 4 forests, every non-basic land she plays for the rest of the game is going to the graveyard.
Well, every land. I mean,
Well, it only destroys non-basics, right?
I
It
mean,
doesn't
no,
destroy
I mean
forests.
you're right, but if you're
Yeah.
thinking if there's only 4 forests, then that's all of them. So that's
That is
it.
all of them. I think Kora has
Yeah.
reached the same conclusion. I have this, but you blow it up and I'm out of forest. And as soon as you know I'm out of forest, I don't make another land drop for the rest of the game. And Kora's like, I cannot beat that. So
Yeah.
we can move along with things. We are wasting our time here.
This recurring Boseiju stuff is or recurring channel lands is pretty brutal when it actually comes to. I mean, it's like Ghost Quarter every single turn, except it hits whatever.
Yeah, it's pretty good. So Brennan 6, already a pretty powerful card. Appears to have gotten even more stock with Kamigawa Neon Dynasty and the Channel lands, and even more stock with the finishing of the Triumph cycle with Streets of New Capenna. So we'll see, exactly how far that can carry Adam. Adam looking to pick up some very crucial NRG points as well this weekend with the conclusion of this season. So, off to a good start. We'll see how he finishes.